Right, in this video, what we're going to do is we're going to look at the scissor tool and the knife tool. So by default, there's the scissor tool. It's C on the keyboard, but the knife tool is not in our palette to start if you're starting with the default kind of workspace here. So I'm just going to add it. And I'm adding it just to show you that you may not know some of these tools are there, but they are definitely there. So I'm going to click and drag this knife all the way over to there. So not only do I have the scissor tool, but I also have the knife tool, and we're just going to break this out. So let's show you the knife tool or the scissor tool to start. So here's my line, and I can simply use the scissor tool and click and click and click, and I now have these separated. Okay, and I can do the same thing on a shape. Right, let's just use the scissor tool. I'm going to cut here and cut here. It's very picky. If that comes up, just means you just weren't specific. And you can see I've cut that. And I can cut I can cut in any pieces that I want. I should be able to cut any path that I want using the scissor tool. Now that's really useful to simply split up a line like I did, or if there's a way things are kind of connecting in. For example, let's say I just wanted to make a space in here, I was putting some words or another object, I can now simply cut them. I could use other things like Pathfinder and stuff like that, but sometimes I find the cut tool just the scissor tool, a really easy way to make some of those things happen. Right, so that's the scissor tool. The other tool is the knife tool. Now it will show you the knife tool only works on a closed shape. Let's do not a closed shape to show you what happens. So if I use the knife tool on a line here that's not closed, you can see it just doesn't like it. Let's see what it does when I have a closed shape. And let's create two closed shapes so you can see the difference between a fill and one that's stroked. All right. So let's use the knife tool, and I'm just going to drag across. And you can see it looks like I'm drawing. Right? So I'm just kind of freely doing this, but you see what happens is it actually makes individual shapes, which is super useful. So let's see what that looks like over here on a filled shape. You can see I can just make some slices like this, and they are cut. Real easy way to be able to cut shapes. And I could go in and say, let's just give these some color. And you can see it was a real easy way to cut this up, and I didn't have to do anything really fancy or tricky with this. It's just a real easy organic way to make some slices into that. So again, let's just look at a filled shape. Now you can see it's not super precise, but if I want something kind of almost feeling a little bit more drawn, you can see I can kind of do that. Right? And while we're just kind of talking about that, let's just talk about the eraser tool while I have it. You can see anything that I have selected. Let's do this shape and a regular stroked line. So these two things I can also use the eraser for. There we go. I just split that in two. Just split that in two, just split that in two. I can do the same thing here. As long as I have it selected, I can use the eraser tool. So for example, I just want this. And you see, it looks like I'm erasing this, but watch what happens. Because it wasn't selected, I let go, it actually doesn't erase it, right? So that's a really nice thing. To make it smaller, I can use the left bracket key or the right bracket key, so I can get some smaller lines in there as well. And you can see it's actually not going to erase it, because I don't have it selected. So let's select this, and let's say you just want it a little bit. There it goes. Okay. So it's a really nice way of using these three tools: the eraser, the scissor, and the knife tool.